You want to weigh in on this topic?
I think you're only public on this item, and thank you for the lively discussion on political science. I think, in my experience, that's a political of particular interest to city councils, and I enjoyed it.
Sir,
for the record,
perhaps you should identify yourself.
My name is David Brandt.
You have 3 minutes.
And, I am your new city manager. And just for the audience, let me give you a little brief discussion of my background. I actually was born in Cupertino. A few years after its incorporation, I don't want to date myself too much. I did graduate from high school in the city of Oakland. That was probably a mistake on my parents' part, but that's water under the bridge. I started my career in local government as a county planner for Santa Clara County. Subsequently went to law school and was appointed the assistant city attorney for the city of Alameda. Moved over to the light side or the dark side, depending on your perspective, and became an assistant city manager there. And most recently, I am the city manager for the city of Redmond, Oregon, which is in the resort area of Central Oregon, just north of Bend. I'm delighted to be your new city manager. While Central Oregon is a beautiful place, I've missed the diversity of the Bay Area, and I'm very excited by the projects and opportunities that Cupertino has, and look forward to meeting your staff and starting next month.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much, Misty, for introducing that. And in case there's any curiosity out there as to why we have an August 7th, 2012 video clip introducing our city manager, we have other types of commencements. This is a commencement of a different phase of your professional and personal life at this point. And we just want to thank you for 6 years of such excellent service to the city of Cupertino. You'll be very, very, very fondly missed in the community, and you've done such an excellent job of pulling together our city with regard to making sure that we are well funded. We're very healthy financially. We have done well in terms of making sure that we're keeping up with the rest of the broader community for our employees. Morale I haven't seen at a higher point. We're a very efficient and effective city. There are so many issues. I will make a note that you sure looked an awful lot younger back 6 years ago. And so perhaps it was a matter of some of the stresses perhaps placed upon the top guy, with regard to making sure that we usher in these types of communications and conversations. I know it hasn't been easy, and there are so many different perspectives and strong opinions throughout Cupertino. Personally, I didn't know that you were born here, so it really is quite a full circle. At this point, I would like to open it up. We're not agendized, but if anybody would care to say a few words about the city manager, I'll be more than happy to open it up. And if, with regard to, I see one hand raised from Jennifer Griffin, and I'm more than happy to open it up to some commentary at this point. And very befitting, as I think Ms. Griffin has probably been in every single of the council meetings you've been in. And Jennifer, you'll have, per usual, the regular 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
And thank you very much for
Where
being
do
out
I
here.
begin? I actually was going to the old, once we annexed in 2000, I started going to the old chambers, and then I was the first person here in 2004 to talk from the public. So anyway, Mr. Brandt, we're going to miss you. You did a fantastic job. You went through the entire Apple, which was just, it was so wonderful to have someone here of your caliber. I really appreciate it. Your type of job is a very, very important job. It is a tough job, and I think you did a fantastic job. So we really appreciate that. And I think that, as I remember, there have been very, very few city managers in the history of Cupertino. I think that there have only been 4, maybe, or 5. 5, okay. And I mean, it is you've got big shoes to fill. And I mean that literally, because, but thank you so much for your service. I understand you're going back up to Oregon, so I hope to hear good things up there, because I have an aunt in Bend and a cousin, and I have a nephew in Corvallis and a brother-in-law, and I have got a whole pack of relatives in Portland. So we hope to hear good things from you, and congratulations on a good future. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Our next speaker is Dennis Whitaker. Welcome, Dennis.
Thank you very much. City Council and Dave, we're going to miss you greatly. We have been very blessed as a city of Cupertino since I came here in 1974 with the likes of Bob Quinlan or Dave Knapp and Don Brown, and I forget who the fifth one is. We have been extremely lucky to have you. You've been very kind to we residents as well as to the city, and I from my heart, I want to thank you for everything you've done for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dennis. And our next speaker is Larry Dean, or together with another, forgive me for forgetting your name.
Moral support.
Okay, very good.
Larry Dean with Walk by Cupertino. And we're here to, with Tagi Sadati, our associate on the board of Walk Bike, we're here to tell David thank you and to tell the council thank you. 4 years ago, when we were figuring out how to start Walk by Cupertino, we did a little research and we found that in the prior 6 to 8 years, literally nothing had been really spent on bike and safety improvements. There's a list of about 10 projects that hadn't been touched. And from David's role as the manager, the facilitator, the enabler, the council really engaged with the whole need to develop a real bike plan. And with Dave's leadership, the whole city went out and developed a detailed plan that the team is working on. His team of Tim Borden and Dave Stillman and the rest of the traffic group. The council has been fully behind it. And later this year, I think we're going to see some real effects and rollouts of what they've been planning in terms of the bike boulevards, starting work on McClellan Road with the separated bike lanes that the community really wants, and then running that route all the way over to Cupertino High and to Barnhart Park. So there are a lot of things that Dave has started that he's not going to be here to really see come to fruition, but I'm sure he'll get the press clippings. And I think what we're going to do is make you an honorary member of Walk by Cupertino, so you get the newsletters and can stay on top of what's going on. And so with that, we, rather than give you a plaque that would go on a wall, we got you a piece of art that we thought would fit.
Oh, nice.
Would fit Oregon, okay? And the little plaque on here says David Brandt, with today's date, July 3rd, Walk by Cupertino, which was made by Vardy. Vardy Stein gemmed this up for us tonight. So we'd like to have you put this in your suitcase and take it home and put it on your counter or on your desk.
I'd be happy to, Larry. And I just want to say, Larry gives me a lot more credit than I deserve about the growth in the bike infrastructure. Well, the one thing that he forgot to say is that I had a meeting with him 4 years ago, and I said, what really helps a community get behind, this kind of embracing of bike infrastructure is an organization that shows up, weekly at council meetings to say this is an important thing for the community, and that's what Larry did. He stood up an organization that's, one of the most active in the community. So, congratulations to you for that.
It's all good. Congrats. Good luck to you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. All right. Well, we're not done, David, with regard to the hardware and the gifts. And so, if you would please join us up on the dais, as well as the members of council present. We have a proclamation to provide to you, City Manager Brandt, and we won't read the recitals, but it's indicative of your accomplishments here, as well as our deep appreciation for your service these past 6 years. So, thanks so much. All All right, excellent. And the reason we're doing this in two parts is because we actually have 3 items of hardware to provide to you. Item number 2, and we'll put the proclamation down for now, is of course the key to the city. After 6 years of service to Cupertino, of course it is very appropriate to give our 5th city manager in the history of Cupertino, over 60 years of history, I might add, the key to our city. So thanks very much. You will always have the key to the city of Cupertino, and you've served it so well over the course of these last several years. And then, and I'll have to caution you, this is smaller but much heavier. And so this is a statue of Rodin's The Thinker. And if you know David, this is quite appropriate with regard to his style and his very self-effacing approach to being able to handle a lot of these issues in such an effective manner, one that doesn't put yourself in the forefront, but certainly evinces, once you start thinking about it, a lot of thought and care in the decision-making that goes forward. So why don't we have you hold that as well as the key, and we'll take that final shot. And thank you so much for your service once again. City Manager David Brandt. Thanks, David.
I would love to say something
All right, very good,
because your and my very first meeting here went on for 2 days, and I sought David's counsel right before and after, and he's been a very calm influence for the last 3.5 years. And as during my year as mayor, especially, we came on the heels of Measure C and D, so it was very tumultuous. The first few months were extremely tough. So it was David's guidance that really helped me steer the ship. And I've also seen him with the staff. I don't know who's going to miss you more, David. The staff, I'm sure, whatever pie party they had, there were a lot of tears there too. We really depended on you for your sage advice. Your experience helped us a lot. The residents talked about Apple. You helped us with Lehigh. Several other things, and for me personally, being my first foray into city politics, it was very good to have your experience and advice. So thank you. I know you're going to your family. They really need you there, but we'll miss you.
Thank you, Councilmember Vaidyanathan. And Councilmember Chang or Councilmember Sharf, would you care to go next?
Okay, shall we?
Okay, Councilmember
Go
Chang.
ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Councilmember Sharf.
Well, as the freshman member, I came in a very tumultuous time, as the other council members said, and I do appreciate your guidance, and your legal background was always a big help as well. And I just hope you have a great time in Oregon. You won't be able to pump your own gas, but you can get your own beer at the gas station and fill your growler. And I wish you well in your next endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Sharf. Councilmember Chang.
Yeah, as the most senior council member on the dais here, I will miss you a lot. I'm one of them. The council hired David to this position, hire you to this position. I'm very glad we hire you because you really guide us through a lot of difficult issue, and most people don't realize. I mean, think about it. Apple Park, this is the only one in the world. And then if you guys don't see it from the negotiation behind the scene, how much the negotiation going on, and then I really appreciate your guidance, help. That's how I've been able to get Apple to pay 30% more on the hike of their sales tax rate. Without your help, I cannot get it done. Okay, but even though even only one vote from me, I've been able to do it, to get it done. But it's your help, and most people probably don't know. As I say, you look around the world, it will be the second Apple Park in the world, none, right? And this is the guy helping us getting that done, and then getting it's a win-win situation, and also Apple pay more the sales tax to the city, 30% more. Okay, from $13 million went up to $18 million, and Apple was happily pay for it. Okay, it's they are not very unhappy with it. Okay, that's number one. Number two is on the Lehigh. When you got on, I was the only lone wolf against Lehigh, but you helped to mitigate and then help, to bring Lehigh at least to a more following the rule, abiding to the rule. Otherwise, before was totally out of range. Okay, but you really help a lot. Okay, and then the traffic, we really need you to stay and help traffic. But then you decide to go back to Oregon. I really envy you because I would like to be there too. I've been there. A lot of tree. The lifestyle is much easier, not like here, and now we know. There's nothing to hide. This city is getting really toxic now to a situation. If we don't solve it, and with all just a backward development situation, getting people divided and then against each other, I don't think that's healthy. But that's what we have to deal with it. You are the one getting the bike to the place. And then the last thing I really will miss you a lot is you always keep your temperament there, cool. Okay, and that's the part I haven't got it done yet. Okay, even though I'm much older than you are, but my temperament sometimes gets through my nerve. I will just erupt it. Okay, but thank you very much for helping. I really miss you, and I will go see you in Oregon. Okay. Sure.
Thanks, Councilmember Chang. And last, we have City Manager David Brandt.
Thank you.
David.
You guys give me a lot of praise, but I couldn't have done anything without the kind of staff that we have here. They've impressed me continuously since the day I got here in terms of their ability, the amount of work they're willing to do, the sort of slings and arrows that they have to put up with when things don't go quite the way that we hope they go, and yet they still come back and work just as hard the next day. So I owe them a debt of gratitude. I also learn from my council members, and I've learned different things from each of you. Savita's, she thinks I'm calm. Savita's also pretty calm, I think, and I've gone to appreciate from a council member, being able to keep your cool. You were mayor for some of those long meetings, and you sort of kept going to the bitter end and never let your cool down. And bravo for a new council member. That's very impressive. Barry, what I learned from Barry is that don't be afraid to take a position that seems extreme, because in a couple of years it'll come right around and it'll seem mainstream. He's done that a couple of times. So you're ahead of the times, maybe. People say, oh, crazy Barry, he takes these crazy positions. I know he's just a few years ahead of the time, right? So, most recently we were looking at business tax. Well, Barry started talking about business taxes, 3-4 years ago? And now all of a sudden these other cities are really seriously looking at that, because we've come to realize that we need resources to handle these traffic problems. So, I've learned that don't be afraid to take what seems like an extreme position, because again, the politics might come around for you. I've learned to appreciate them. Our mayor is very dedicated to the residents. For him, every decision he makes, it's about what's right for the residents. Which is important, right? That's who elected you, and that's who, at the end of the day, you are accountable to, and I appreciate the fact that they come first to you. Thank you. Councilmember Scharf, the newest member, I actually regret that we haven't had more time. You are one of the more charming, best sense of humor council members I've served with in a long time. And now that I'm in private life, I think you'd be surprised that I actually agree with a lot of your positions that you probably don't think that I do. So, but now that I'm not here now I can, yeah.
Now the truth comes out.
All right. But anyway, I wish you all the best of luck. I'm very pleased that you are bringing Amy Chan back. Amy was the interim city manager when I got here. She has many, many years of experience. She's very familiar with this council and with this community, and I think she will serve you well until you find a permanent replacement. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, David. All right.